Bonjour fellow citoyens du monde, moi c'est Jordan Patrick et je suis américain vivant en France depuis 7 ans. So originally I first moved to Paris in 2014 to finish my bachelor's. I was only supposed to be there for 6 months, but I just loved the French lifestyle, so I decided to then start my master's program. And here we are 7 years later, and I am still living in France, working full-time and waiting for French nationality. So I've actually been interested in French culture for a very long time now. I'm a tennis player and I would always watch Roland Garros or the French Open on TV. And so I always saw beautiful images of Paris while watching this tournament. And so for me, it was kind of a no-brainer when I saw that there was a partnership program between the school I was going to in California and the one in Paris. I ended up applying directly to the school in Paris because all of my credits would transfer, and it ended up being a lot cheaper that way. And I knew that I could stay in Paris and continue on to do my master's. Oh, and I also knew that I would have to be speaking French, and that was always a goal of mine to be bilingual or to speak multiple languages. And I knew that France was not known for being great at English, and I knew that I would need to improve my French, so that's another reason. So after living 4 years in Paris, I then found a job in Limoges, which is in the French countryside, and I love the French lifestyle. And that's more prominent outside of Paris because here in the countryside, people live a much more relaxed lifestyle. Many things are closed on Sundays because that is meant for family time. And I love how art is such a big part of the culture here as well. You'll often see people go on Sundays, Saturdays, like throughout the week, going to museums because you'll always have tons of different expositions every month or every few months. So that's something I really appreciate about French culture. I love picnics. I love the sense of convivialité. I don't really know how to say that in English. Like brotherhood that you see between all the citizens. And these are all things I absolutely love about living in France. So one of the things I miss most about the US is the sports culture. How it's very common to go with friends or family to a sports bar. You'll have your hot wings, you'll be watching the game. It's gonna be super loud and it's really fun. But that's not very French or European in general. Like it's pretty rare to find that in Europe. You will find some in some big cities, but it's not common that you'll be eating and watching TV at the same time. You're there to like share the moment with your friends and family and to talk with a reasonable amount of volume and noise surrounding you. And so here people are much more reserved and quiet. And yeah, I miss that like electric atmosphere that you have in the States. So like I just kind of touched on, like the French are pretty reserved. And so in the States, it's pretty common that you'll talk with strangers if you're in line at the supermarket or you're on the streets and maybe you like someone's shirts and you compliment them or something like that. But in French culture, people are not quick to talk to people that they don't know. And to become friends with someone, it takes a lot of time, because they need to trust you. And how can they trust someone that they barely know? And so that's definitely something that's different and has taken me time to get used to. You really have to break down those barriers to become close with the French people. But once you do, you are friends for life, which is pretty cool. Yes, it was definitely hard for me to learn French, especially living in Paris where you have such a big expat community and a lot of Parisians travel a lot, and in doing so they also have to learn a little bit of English. So I would say in the beginning when you're first trying to speak French, they're gonna see that you're struggling a little bit or you might have like a really heavy accent, and they're going to naturally immediately switch into English because they know that it's going to be much quicker for both of you. I would say I didn't feel super comfortable until after 3 years in France. But with that being said, I spent a lot of time speaking English. My studies were all in English. That was kind of on me. It could have been much faster if I surrounded myself with only French people. Yeah, I would say to feel comfortable, it took me about 3 years. The advice I would give for people wanting to move to France, I would say to do your research. For about 6 months leading up to my move, I was doing research almost every day. I would go to Barnes & Noble, I would read books about French culture, about living abroad. I just did so much research that I felt so ready and prepared by the time I actually got to Paris. Of course, there are going to be some unplanned things that you had no idea about, but part of the charm about moving abroad is learning as you go. If it weren't for the challenges of moving abroad by myself, I never would have grown and adapted so quickly, and that sense of doing everything on your own is so rewarding. So, For this last question, it's a pretty deep one. Like, if I had the chance to do it all again, like, would I still choose France? Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Like, I have created such a life for myself here in France, and I couldn't imagine my life any other way. Wow. I feel like I really became an adult here in France. I moved when I was 23 years old, and now I'm almost 30. I've been in France much longer as an adult than I was in the States, and looking back, I feel like I was such a kid in the US. And the one thing I regret is not creating my YouTube channel back when I moved to France, because this year when I was confined, I decided to create a YouTube channel, and it was a way to occupy my newfound free time. And I wish I would have started this from the beginning, and then I would have this diary. Yeah, that is my only one regret, is not starting my channel sooner. You can find me at Jordan Patrick on YouTube, and I make English videos every Wednesday and French videos the first Sunday of every month. So I look forward to seeing you there. Thanks for watching, and good luck to anyone looking to move abroad. Ciao, ciao for now. Being professional now, and here we are 7 years later. My school in California, here in the countryside. Let me go back. So after living 4 years in Paris, I then found a job in Limoges, which is in the French countryside. It's much more prominent here.
Ah, merde.